Although the biggest premiere of the first half of the year are already behind us for the most part, there are still some games ahead that are definitely worth our time. So without further ado, let's take a look at the upcoming games of April 2018. Although Skyrim VR has been available on PlayStation 4 since November last year, it's only coming to PCs right now. Bethesda recently revealed that the game will be available for both the Oculus Rift and HTC Vive starting April the 3rd. You can already pre-order the game, but be prepared to pay the full price for the product that you already have in your library, at least in 2 versions. Apart from the original game, this version of Skyrim has all the official add-ons in it, meaning Dawnguard, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn. So if you feel like battling Draugrs and dragons in your VR set that's probably somewhere in the corner, all dusty and whatnot, I guess you can give it a try pretty soon. Although I'm still waiting for the toaster version of the Elder Scrolls. The newest farming game is something different from what you're probably used to. This one is an economy strategy game in which a player has to manage his farm. Initially, the player gets to control a small farm and is tasked with turning it into an agricultural giant. The game offers over 20 types of crops, fruit and vegetables, as well as nearly 40 diversified machines which you can buy either brand new or used, but then they're more prone to breakdowns. Apart from farming itself, you'll get a chance to erect buildings as well as breed animals for meat and to produce milk, eggs and honey. Yeah, I always wanted to be a beekeeper. You'll also have to pay attention to changing weather conditions and obviously seasons that affect your business enterprise. The game offers a single-player campaign with 15 separate scenarios as well as free mode where you can do just anything you want. This definitely sounds like something you'll want to do after a hard day at work. Farm up, boys and girls! Yakuza VI is the next installment in the series of action-adventure games focused on the Japanese criminal underworld. The story presented in this title once again focuses on the adventures of Kazuma Kiryu, who must face new problems related to his long relationship with the Yakuza. The player will once again meet well-known characters and inhabitants of the fictional entertainment district of Tokyo called Kamurocho that already appeared in the previous entries in the saga. Fun fact, for the first time in the series, the director and actor who created a cinematic adaptation of the first Yakuza released in 2005 will make a guest appearance in the game. Are you excited? Now this one is the crown jewel in the April lineup. Once again, we'll step into the shoes of Kratos, the famous god slayer. After his Greek adventures filled with anger and madness ended with destruction of the Olympus, the protagonist escaped to the far north where all he needed was peace and serenity. Although we do not yet know much about his family, especially who is the mother of Atreus, his son, I imagine that having to substitute swords with diapers was a tough thing to do. God of War changed its concept for gameplay a lot. Although we will still fight long battles, and there will be plenty of them, the game received a much more cinematic storytelling and it reminds me a bit of what Uncharted series has to offer. Also, when you're not in the middle of a fight, be prepared to deal with lots of interesting puzzles. Oh, by the way, Kratos also changed his voice in this installment, but if you were a fan of Teal'c in the Stargate TV series, you'll be pleased. Lots of love, Christopher Judge. Frostpunk is a really interesting game straight from Poland. Although this one does not come from the creators of The Witcher, not all is lost. This game was made by 11-Bit Studios, the team responsible for This War of Mine, and just like with their previous hit, they give the classic gaming genre their own unique spin. So what is Frostpunk all about? The game is set in a frozen, hostile world, the climate of which significantly shaped the society. In order to survive, humanity uses energy generated by steam engines. However, the society needs to constantly change, as it cannot continue to exist in its current shape. In terms of gameplay, all playthroughs are focused on the generator that is the heart of every settlement. As we play along, we need to create housing and all kinds of industrial buildings to provide our people with a way to survive, by any means necessary. There will be lots of difficult choices to make, so are you really ready to lead your people into the frozen wasteland? Sinner: Sacrifice for Redemption is an action RPG developed by a Chinese studio, Dark Star Games, that was founded by veteran developers from Blizzard, Konami, and Ubisoft. The game takes place in a grim fantasy world terrorized by 8 powerful beasts. 7 of them are a representation of the 7 cardinal sins. The player assumes the role of an amnesiac soldier named Adam, who starts a journey in order to save the world, remember his sins, and find redemption. The game features a few different endings, all depending on how the player manages during the duels with the personifications of those sins. During gameplay, you'll be able to use a variety of weapons, and battles themselves will require a good tactical sense. In order to win, you must learn to analyze enemy movement and find good opportunities for attack. The element that makes this game unique is a certain mechanic that the developers implemented. Before each battle with the bosses, the player has to sacrifice one of his statistics. This means that, contrary to what RPGs usually do, your character will gradually become weaker as you progress through the game. And that one is interesting. The Forest is a first-person survival horror where the player assumes the role of a plane crash survivor. The protagonist wakes up at the wreckage and, just like Robinson Crusoe, is trying to survive by building shelter and seeking food. Soon, however, it turns out that the survivor is not alone on the island, and the jungle is a home to a tribe of mutant cannibals. Sounds peachy. The game is not really famous for any of its unique features, but rather for being in early access for almost 4 years now. It might be hard to see your children grow up and leave home, but it's definitely high time the Forest stopped hiding behind that early access tag and proved that it's been worth the wait. There's still no solid release date, but the developer said that they're aiming for the end of April. Good luck in the big world, little guy. The presence of this one on our list might surprise you, since it's a mobile game, but I think there is a lot of interest in the world created by the TV series, so I figured, why the hell not? Westworld is an adaptation of the TV series from 2016 and the movie from 1973. It was developed by Warner Bros. In cooperation with Behavior Interactive, the creators of the online game Dead by Daylight. This developer also created the mobile game that you may be familiar with, Fallout Shelter. Gameplay in Westworld is similar to that of Fallout Shelter. The title combines traits of economic strategy and simulation games. First, the players must design their park, construct facilities and labs where new technologies can be discovered. Then the location has to be filled with androids, of which there are over 170 types available. But providing entertainment is only one side of Westworld. Androids can be sometimes unpredictable, so you'll have to check their AI algorithms constantly. After all, you should know their answers to questions like, did you ever want to hurt someone, or do you question the reality you live in?
Share of trials, now we face a new force, sinuous and vile.
Forgive me if you're a big fan of Hearthstone, but for me there's only one way to report this premiere. An expansion number 375 that only hardcore players care about. However, the fanbase for Blizzard's card game is so big that it will surely be an important release. The plot of The Wychwood focuses on the Worgen kingdom of Gilneas. Due to the action of Hagatha, the orc shaman, the kingdom is now in danger of being overrun by the cursed creatures from the eponymous Wychwood. To defeat this evil, it's necessary to journey into the heart of the cursed forest, from which no one has ever came back. The Wychwood adds 135 new cards, many of them inspired by the Worgen, the Warcraft version of the werewolves. The heroes and supporting characters of that race can turn into beasts, and as a result they change their health and attack statistics. So if you still hadn't had enough of Hearthstone, you definitely need to check this one out.
The monsters fear.
So this pretty much sums up the most interesting releases of April 2018. If there's something we missed that you're really interested in next month, make sure to let us know in the comments. Happy Easter, y'all!